Hi, Run Your Story family. This is Allison Gilliard with Run Your Story, where every story needs to be heard. And buckle up, guys. It is a story, and I am so excited to share with you guys my incredible friend, Scott Thornhill, and his beautiful, inspiring run story. And one of the things that he says that just spoke to me so deeply, and that is to surround yourself with the best people and the best people in the running community. And he's right. I know so many incredible people that are changing the world and making it better, and they're doing that through running, and it's absolutely beautiful and incredible. And if you guys ever want an encouraging spirit or an encouraging voice in your ear, get a hold of Scott. He's definitely a motivator, guys. You are gonna get so much encouragement from his story, takeaways that he gives. Guys, one of the things that he talks about is you have those baby steps until you get to big steps. Oh man, so good. And that it's a blessing that we get to do this, that we get to run, that we get to be part of the community. And he is so right. And I am incredibly thankful to Fresh Junkie Ambassadors for introducing us and for allowing us to spend time together. That's how I got to know Scott. He's a fellow ambassador as well. And just the love that he has and an incredible challenge he has for all of us. And that is to be a team member. And he shares that. He'll go in depth with that. And that's one of his goals, is to be a better teammate, which I think is just so cool. And you may think, well, how can we do that in running? He gives so much advice with that, and I think it's crucial and it's needed. And to every single person that's helped somebody along a run, thank you. Thank you for being that support system. Thank you to our support system. Scott shares about his dad being there, and I think that is so crucial. And how it's the circle, now his children are involved in running. Guys, this is going to be a story you do not want to miss out on, and I am truly grateful to my friend Scott and his story. It's absolutely incredible. And community, that's what it is. And somebody that does a great job of community, that's going to be our Wagner's Run Walk crew. Love those guys. Guys, they are powering up Scott's story this month, along with all the others, and they believe in Run Your Story. They absolutely love the stories, and we love Wagner's Run Walk. Guys, they have been in Tuscaloosa, Alabama for over 70 years. Can I get a roll tide? Roll tide. So they do an outstanding job, whether you are a seasoned marathoner or you are stepping out of your comfort zone for that very first time. Wagner's Run Walk can give you the hook up, guys, with their exceptional customer service that began all of this. And they have everything from Hoka to On to Brooks to New Balance, my favorite, which is going to be Asics. Guys, they are going to help you prioritize comfort, chase that new PR, or like I said, if you're like, I want to start something new, get with Wagner's Run Walk. They are absolutely amazing. You can shop in store or online at wagnersrunwalk.com. And they gave us a discount code RYS10 for 10% off your first purchase. Guys, go visit our friends at Wagner's Run Walk and cross that finish line with great memories and in comfort and in style. They believe in community. Oh, I love Wagner's Run Walk. They are so good. They believe in making a difference. They believe in the power of running. And so go check out our friends. Tell them thank you for supporting this podcast and believing in us. We believe in them and they believe in us, and we absolutely love it. Wagner's is one of my favorite places to go. So roll tide. And that one's for you, Scott, because I know you're a big LSU fan. All right, guys, so lace up those running shoes. Get ready, get set, and go run with my friend Scott and his run story. Thanks, Scott, for joining us. So excited.
I am equally excited. I'm looking forward to this. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we finally got to actually meet in person a little bit at Mississippi Gulf Coast, where you forgot your running shoes and had to turn around and run back.
Yeah.
But then we really got to hang out at Louisiana Expo, and such a cool dude that I was like, gotta have you on the podcast. So I'm really excited because I don't really know. I know that you're part of the Wednesday Night Run Club with Brittany, and you live in Louisiana. Other than that, I don't know your run story. So how does your story begin, my friends?
Well, I want to take you back into the time machine, back to about 99, 2000. About in the end of middle school, junior, I was extremely obese. My grandma passed away. I was in a new school, a little difficulty assimilating. And I think I was in the midst of adolescent depression without knowing it.
Mm,
And I tried to eat my way out. I stopped playing sports. I
mm,
wasn't active. I was just laying around. And one day at the end of freshman year, I decided I wanted to join the team. So I went out and didn't realize the extent of the nutrition hole that I had, or the health hole that I had dug myself in. And I found out very quickly.
mm,
I'm thinking back to the soccer days when I run for days, and it wasn't quite the same thing. The rule was you could not run faster than the position group ahead of you. So I had the
mm,
designated privilege of being one of the slowest on the team. Well, the position group behind me wanted to run faster. So I had guys running up behind me, hazing style, smacking me on behind, saying, hurry it up, let's go, let's go. And when you get to the curve on the track, we were walk. So I
mm,
finally got to the curve and I started walking. And then some come up behind me and bam, I nobody to walk. Ah, okay, okay. So I'm calling. Every day after practice, I would hear someone say, "Come back." And I'd turn and smile and say, I'll see y'all tomorrow. And I'd wait until the car
mm,
got out of eye shot distance, leaned back, looked at my mom and said, they kill me. They tried to kill me. Got home, too tired to eat,
mm,
slept, woke up the next day and realized, oh God, I gotta go back. I can't not show up. I can't be a
mm.
quitter. So at the end of the summer, I lost 30 pounds. I went from about 210
Wow.
pounds to roughly 175, 180. By the end of my sophomore year, I was about 160 pounds, which is right around where I should have been. And I have
Mm,
not looked back since. So fast forward to 2018. I found out about this cool event in Baton Rouge called the Tiger 10K. In the Tiger 10K, you get to not only run onto the field, on stadium, you finish on the 50-yard line on the eye of the tiger, and the cherry on top, they announce your name on the PA system in Tiger Stadium. And I thought to myself, well, when am I going to have the opportunity to be on the 50-yard line and not get arrested?
mm,
And I said, probably never. So I said, sign me up. So I ran the 5K. I was really excited. I finished and I noticed that there was a lot of, excuse my misogyny, but a lot of little girls with 10K medals. And I said, I had medal shame. If they can do a 10K, I know I can do a 10K. So I said, I'm coming back and I'm going to run the actual Tiger 10K, not the 5K.
mm,
So I started training and I trained and I was able to run 6 miles nonstop. And that I'd never
mm.
done anything like that before. And
Wow.
so I ran the Tiger 10, got my medal, and I found out the following month, Fresh Junkie Racing puts on an event called the Louisiana Marathon. And in the Louisiana Marathon, there's an event called a quarter marathon, which is not that much other than a 10K.
Mhm,
And I said,
mhm,
well, if I can do that, well, then I can do this. And so I ran a quarter marathon. And then I found out the
mm,
following month, there's an event called the Mardi Gras Mamba. There's a 15K, and a 15K for 9 miles. And I said, well, if I'm running miles to train for this 10K and quarter marathon, I know I can run nine. So I ran the Mardi Gras Mambo. Now, keep in mind, I've only been seriously running at this point for 3 months, 4 months. I got second
Wow.
place in my division. And that meant that my eyes were
Mm,
really open to the potential and possibility. And I said, wow. Then I found out the following month, they had an event called the Amazing Kids Half Marathon. And I said, this is insane. A half marathon, this is 13
mm.
miles. This is insane. I've gone since 3 to 13. So I ran that. I got second place in my division again.
Wow.
And now my mind has completely expanded from a fight for fun to be on the eye of the tiger to, could I maybe run a marathon? No, crazy run marathons. There's no reason to run a marathon. And so I signed up for a marathon. Louisiana Marathon 2000. Now we're in 2020 for the amazing kids that I got second. And there was a little incident in 2020, well, COVID. So the Louisiana Marathon in push back, push back, push back.
Mhm.
And it was mentally draining. I'll say that because I was ready to
Sure.
go in January
Yeah.
and then they pushed it back.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh God, I got to train more. Cause at this point, I'm putting out 20-mile runs
Sure.
and I'm one of these, I'm a crazy person now. So finally we get to March and go to run Louisiana Marathon. And I got a little rumbly in my tumbly. And I said,
Mm.
something's not right. And I show up, get there, and I got to about mile 8, and everything came to a crashing halt. I found out a couple days later when my kid got sick, I was blessed with a stomach virus.
Oh,
So
man.
in mile 8 is where everything started to spiral. And Allison, it was probably the most beautiful moment and one of the biggest epiphanies in my life because
Mm.
I'm on my hands and knees near University Lakes and a beautiful soul ran by Tutu, and I'll never forget it. And a black fanny pack. And she reached in. First of all, she ran past me, looked off to the side, 180, turned around, peeled back, reached in her fanny pack, saying a word. I
Mhm.
opened my hand and she dropped some ginger lozenges into my hand, ease stomach pain. And she
Yeah.
peeled off and kept going.
Mm.
And in that moment, I looked at myself and I asked, I said, I have stopped. Would I have stopped to help? And I said to myself, no, I wouldn't have.
Mm.
I would have been focused on my goal. I would have been focused on my time. I would have judged and said, "Oh, you've been drinking the night before. Your fault. You should have trained like me. Your fault." And
Mm.
I felt so much shame. And I said, "The running community is filled with beautiful souls. And I fully believe in surrounding yourself with people that are better than you."
Mm.
And I decided in that moment, this is the community for me, and these are my people. And this
Mm.
is how I'm going to get better. And so from that point forward, I said, this is it for me. My eyes are open and I completely understand now why these crazy people do what they do. And 5 marathons later, and I'm looking at 100 miler next month that I'm going to run. I am 10 toes deep in the deep. So it's been a journey, but a really valuable learning lesson every step of the way, and one I wouldn't trade for anything.
I'm trying really hard to keep my composure and not cry because that is, I think that you nailed it when you said the running community is made of beautiful souls. Just, I'm thinking back to, I did the quarter marathon this past year at Louisiana, and I got to meet this amazing girl who was just like a fresh junkie ambassador. Like, you are so intense. And I was like, not really. Like, it just says that, but I'm not. And this was the furthest she had ever ran. She was like, I've only done 5Ks. I'm like, girl, you got this. And she did great. But I think back to like just that encounter of how we can really speak life into somebody and how somebody just handed you something. They were like, you know what? He needs this. And you don't know why that person in the black too had those genders not had that in her pack, but she did. And she was like, he needs them more than I do. So I love
That
that.
guardian
That's
angel came in right
what a
on
story.
time. Yeah,
Oh, it's amazing. So I do have to ask because you are also a Fresh Junkie ambassador, and that's like how we got
I am.
connected, how we know each other. So what does it mean to be an ambassador to you?
It's a very humbling experience coming from where I come from. Because to be
Mm,
brutally honest with you, I played football. I played soccer when I was in high school, and that's really without knowing it where my running foundation. I played
sure.
midfield, and you're running about 2 to 4 miles a game, if I remember correctly. So that was my endurance foundation without knowing it. But I've always felt like an outsider. I've always felt like I'm a football player, I'm a soccer player, but I'm not a runner. I'm just medals. I'm here to have a good time, but
Hmm.
I'm not one of them. And so to be selected ambassador was really humbling, but gratifying for me because I felt like part of.
Mm, hmm. So good. And you are. You were so, and I will say you were such an encouraging spirit too. And if you're ever at an expo for anyone that's listening and you hear Scott, you should go because you were just so you're such a pumped up kind of guy. Like you and Danny together are a hoot. So fun,
Yeah.
but just also just so encouraging.
I had the opportunity to run with Ainsley's for the first time at the North Shore Half Marathon, and Danny was my partner, and he is such a great
Mm,
guy. He is a really
mm-hmm,
amazing person. Just he's a great runner, great athlete,
mm-hmm.
better.
I second that. And that's how, and I thought it was
Oh,
amazing
thank you.
that our, how just you were so calm when you were like, yeah, so at Mississippi Gulf Coast, you're like, yeah, I realized I forgot my running shoes. And we're like, okay. But you were just so chill about it. You were like, yeah, I had to turn around. I had to go back and get them.
It's obstacles and it's just a matter of overcoming. And thank God in my life in a fashion that I try to give myself extra time just in case. Just in case. You
Mm,
never know. Traffic, flat tire, forgot your shoes at home. And my dad's my number one supporter for my entire life,
mm,
but he's always my
mm,
transport. He stayed the night at my house and we got up, we're driving and on the way to whatever race we're going to. And I live in Covington. So we left probably at about 4:30, 4:45. I want to get there hour-ish early, get
mm.
stretched and warm up. We made it almost to Slidell, and I just jumped. I don't know what's to me in my dreams, maybe the black guardian angel, but I just jumped at my shoes. And my dad said, "All right, it's fine. We'll good time." And sure enough, they're sitting right there. And that's been the running joke since. Every time I show up to a race, he say, "Hey, you got your shoes, right?" "Yeah, I got my shoes. Got my shoes." And that's the
And
first
if
and
I'm not
last
mistaken,
time.
I was going to say for Louisiana, I think you said that you packed a pair and you wore a pair.
Yeah, pair in the trunk,
There-
a pair on the feet just in case. No chances.
Absolutely amazing. So let's talk about some lessons that you've learned from running because obviously you've already talked about how beautiful the running community is and in that moment, which I think is such a beautiful lesson in itself. But what are some other lessons that you've learned from running?
That is definitely number one. I say it definitely reinforced what I practiced from freshman year, which don't give up.
Mm,
It doesn't matter. Mind over
mm,
matter. Your legs at times will scream at you and say, "Do you stop?" And you don't necessarily have to. I think it was Muhammad that when you feel like you can't go anymore, you're only halfway done. So
oh,
I
mm,
apply those type lessons to what I do now. I've learned things like that, but I honestly think that the biggest takeaway is most certainly if you want to surround yourself with the best people, get into the running community. Find a running club.
mm,
These are the most supportive people that I've ever had the pleasure of. And there's people that'll skip races. You think, oh, it's a losing. No, I'm not going to run. I just want to cheer everybody on.
yeah.
And that expands my mind further. And it's, you're going to come and not even participate. The sole purpose of supporting everybody else. You don't find that.
Mhm, mm. You mentioning think back to what Ryan said, and that is, like, how important the supportive community is. Like, with your dad, that's a support system for you. You don't have to worry about driving, and as you talked about, like, he's your transportation, he's your fan, he's there cheering,
Absolutely.
he's gonna be at the finish line, and so, again, that's
Yeah.
another aspect of the community that you're a part of, that we're a part of, that to have those people that say, I believe in you and I'm going to give of my time to be there to make sure that you have everything that you need and that you get to cross the finish line.
And it seems trivial and silly when you see people holding the signs and the Mario sign I call mushroom that says
That's
tap
right.
for a power up. And I'm mushroom every time,
That's right.
every
Absolutely.
single time. And when I finished the Irish Marathon, as I affectionately call it, I got to mile 23. And I remember I could not get up. I was stuck. I tried to get up and I
Mm,
backed down. And then the traffic police officers come in my way. Then I see a guy on a bike coming my way. I see red shirts and I'm like, oh, dude, please don't make me quit. Please don't make me quit. And they're like,
mm,
hey, buddy, you okay? I said, I'll army crawl from here if I have to, but I'm going to finish. And the guy said, you only got a 5K left. And that was the most defeating thing to me because I was like, oh my God, a 5K. Oh, but I got back in close to downtown and there was music playing, people were cheering, and it,
mm,
it gave me life. And then I see the
mm,
overpass and people are saying, come on, man, you got it, you got it, you got it. And
mm,
back to the supportive community, it gives you that just enough life to power through and finish. And
Mm.
it took me about 2 extra hours from my goal time, but I finished that day on my feet, and I credit all the people that helped me along the way, supportive, just clapping and everything else, and it's
Mm.
so that's one of my favorite things to do after I'm done with a race, because you see people who they put everything they could into it, and they get to that last mile, and they some of them get to the death march, and they can't, and I'm going, "Come on,
Mm.
finish strong, let's go," and they'll look and see you,
Mm.
and they'll start running again, and yes. You want to inject life in other people, and that helps you too. And it's not a selfish
Mm.
thing. See somebody react and to know you had a just a piece of influence on them and help them, it's so gratifying.
Scott, that is absolutely I love how you said inject life into other people. Oh, brother, that is so good. Absolutely amazing. Let's talk about a favorite race. Do you have one?
I really enjoy the Mardi Gras Mamba. I've started as I learned off from running the 15K. I run the 1 mile with my daughters. My 5-year-old, who's a member of the Run
Oh.
Club, she comes with me very frequently to Run Club, pretty much every time. My 12-year-old also. And the three of us run that one. And then we also run the Tiger 10K, well, the 5K, and we run that with my dad. And he's an
Mm.
LSU dad. He's been an LSU fan since Billy Cannon ran the Ole Miss back, and I've heard that story times. But it's a family affair for the Tiger 10K, and makes it really, really special.
Mm.
My 12-year-old last year was sick. She had the flu, so I subbed in my girl, and this little ran about 2.5, almost 3 miles out of the 5K, and I'm shocked. I'm like, I thought on my shoulders and walk half the time. We're ahead of my dad. And I said, "Hey, but we need to stop and wait for Papa. We're getting away from him." And she said, "Dad, Papa's not trying to beat anybody. We have to go." And I said, "Well, can't argue with that. Let's go." And it's really a wonderful family affair that we get to take part in that.
Mm.
Personally, on my own, I really like the Louisiana Marathon because
Mhm.
after the Stomach My Virus Marathon, I sat there and kind of lamented because it was going to be a one and done. It was my Mount Everest. It was a
Mm.
bucket list. Granted, I was sick. I didn't hit my goal, but I did it. I got the medal. Check. Right.
Sure. Mhm.
I laid there and I laid there and I was disappointed and just, I don't know if you remember Drew Brees' last game with the Saints, but in the Superdome, he threw interceptions and we did not win the Super Bowl. And I just remember thinking, it's not supposed to be like this. This is not how this is supposed to end.
Mm.
And it was the same feeling for that marathon. I was like, we didn't work hard to end this way. So I signed up
Mm.
for the Gulf Coast Marathon and the Louisiana Marathon the following year. And I was hell bent that I was gonna destroy the Louisiana Marathon. I said, "I owe you one. You got me last
Mm.
time. I'm coming back."
Mm.
And my original goal
Mm.
time was 3:45. And I'm not qualifying for Boston. I'm not setting any records. I'm not going to the Olympics, but that was my goal. So I
Mm.
ran Gulfist in 3:34. And I was like, "Oh,
Wow.
well, you know what? 3:30." And when I crossed the finish line in Louisiana at 3:29:21, I had to stop myself from becoming emotional because I had poured so much into that race. It had been
Mm.
2 years in the
Mm.
making to try to achieve a goal. And then also that was the year, I don't know if you remember Ahmaud Arbery, the guy that was murdered in Georgia
Mm.
on
Mhm.
a run. And that shook me to the core because in my training, I'm running all around Covington, black.
Mhm.
I'm running at night. I'm running
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
gloves. I'm in places that I don't live, around people that I don't know, and no one gives me a second glance. No one asks me what I'm doing. I'm not being
Mm.
followed by anyone. And the fact this guy's doing the same thing I'm doing and was murdered in cold blood for it, I carried that weight with me. I'm trying not to get
Mm.
emotional. I
Sure.
weight
Yeah. Yeah.
with me
Mm.
on every training run.
Mm.
And when I finished, I just kept thinking, this one's for you, man. And
Mm.
it was such an outpouring of emotion for me. And my kids are there at the finish line, and I'm like, I'm good. Suck it up. So, that specific route is very special to me, the Louisiana Marathon. And I ran again this year. And
Mm.
again,
Yeah.
I just love the people. I love the atmosphere. 19 degrees and snow flurry. We're gonna have that this year, but that's definitely a favorite of mine. I like the back race as well.
Mm. It's my
in
favorite.
Alabama. And I bring my dad along for that one. He's an Army vet. He
Oh,
loves the environment, and
oh, it's so amazing.
huge I'm a huge supporter of the military, so it's just
Mm,
great on those guys. I don't know the honor of cert, but I greatly appreciate everyone who's
mhm,
made that sacrifice, and to be able to side all those guys,
mm,
it's just such an honor and a privilege.
mm. Oh, so good. Goodness. Let's turn to it's race day. What does your pre race routine look like?
Hopefully not a stomach virus. Hopefully not the flu. And we can get to that in a little while for the my least favorite for sure. But I'm not really a big eater. I've started to try to gut train and eat
Mm,
and fuel to be a minimalist. Now I'll have a little bit of coffee, stroopwafel, and then my race routine is usually the night before. I'll get my bib pinned on. I've got my
mhm.
clothes laid out, shoes, have the shoe, bag ready, get everything packed, and that's when I start to get the butterflies. That's when it starts to get real, and it's
Mhm,
okay.
mhm,
We're doing this. It's going down tomorrow,
mm.
and I get prepped. I get all that stuff ready, and other than that, it's just usually just mental work. I don't do a whole lot of like ritual or anything like that. Most of it's just mental running through times and checkpoints and things like that. But I'm not too ritualistic when it comes to what I call the pregame routine for race day. Besides, make sure you got your shoes.
Let's talk about you cross the finish line. You're done. What does your post race routine look like?
Immediately hug my kids, thank them, love them, their mom and my dad, and immediately get some water, coffee, hang out at the post race party. But we'll go grab breakfast after that or brunch, depending on what time and how long it took and all that good
Mhm.
stuff. And I'm wearing my medal all day, the whole day. I'm gonna
Oh,
wear the medal all
okay.
day because I'm not ever gonna put it on again. So raw, and I'm up
Yes.
all day. So I'm that guy. I unashamedly wearing Cracker Barrel, and here I am with a medal dangling off me. But hey, I earned it. So
And sometimes you'll have 2 medals because you will have placed, so then you're just dingling, like, all over the place.
in this past one for the Louisiana Marathon, I had the Beach to Bayou medal. So yeah, every
Yeah,
step I
mhm.
take, and so I'm just holding it sometimes and just
I was walking back to our car after that race, and there was a guy that was he just got out of the way. I was like, "Yeah, we're not sneaking up on you, obviously. Like, you're hearing us
at
coming."
all. Yes.
Okay, what is an item that you, Scott, will not go running without? Will not hit the pavement if you do not have this item?
AirPods. Gotta have music.
Mm,
I,
mm.
Danny, me and Danny were running, and he said he likes to run sometimes with no music. And I said, "You are." I thought I was savage. That's insane. I have to have something moving me along, and
Mm,
I asked myself running to the beat of the song, so
mhm.
that helps along the way. But I've got to have music. I don't know what I would do. I'd go crazy.
So what is your playlist?
I have what I call a running playlist, and it is a
Mhm, okay.
mix of rap, rock, metal, mostly upbeat stuff. Trying to think what Rage Against the Machine, pretty heavy in there. Good bit of Lil Wayne and stuff like that. I have called a Back in My Day playlist, which is hits from the
Mhm,
90s, but all upbeat stuff for the most part. Trying to think. I really find new songs and I'll get stuck on them. But what's the song?
mhm.
It's Oasis. Champagne Supernova is probably my current new jam. But I have just a mix of different stuff, but it's upbeat.
Mm, okay. Yeah, I like it. Okay. That way you're just flying across the pavement,
That's the goal.
like Speaking of shoes, what are you running, Scott?
Well, I'm just a Nike Don't Fly 6. I am a Nike head. I'm full victim of the Nike marketing campaign of the late 80s, 90s. Of course, I want to run fast and jump high. So what do you wear? You wear Nike. I really love those shoes a lot. They're very comfortable. Marathon in them a couple weeks ago, and I'm very pleased with them. I love the New Balance SC Train. I have version one,
Okay.
but they're really cushioned and very springy. I'm a huge fan of carbon fiber plates. I'm a sucker for that. And then I trail run as well. And absolutely hands down, no question, Nike's the Gamma 2 is my favorite trail shoe and actually might be my favorite running shoe overall. I've been peer pressured into a couple pairs of Hoka, and no disrespect to Hoka or the fans of Hoka, but I'm a Nike guy, so
You
they
Nike
usually stay in
guy.
the closet. Yeah,
Those are the dad shoes for you, is your Hoka.
yeah, right.
All right. So you touched on it a little bit about how you're gut training a little bit right now. So for your longer runs, what do you like to fuel with?
I go with Goo Brand,
Okay.
Goo Gels, and
Mm-hmm.
Goo Brand Stoop Waffles. I like the chocolate caramels. I can't do fruity. Fruity just hurts my stomach. So if they
Mm-hmm.
have the watermelon or the strawberry,
Mm-hmm.
that's not for me. I go chocolate. Well, I think they have like Morse flavor. So I skew toward the chocolate type of flavor stuff as opposed to fruity, but I keep it Goo Brand that works. And I'm the type of guy,
Mm-hmm.
if it ain't broke, I'm not gonna fix it. So
Sure. Mm-hmm. So Nikes and Goos
and Goo
and
Brand.
your running.
Yep.
Sounds like you got a really good routine going there, Scott.
I'm a creature of habit, say that.
Okay, so you've talked a lot about different memories, but do you have a running memory that is your core running memory?
I think I'd have to put it at the stomach virus marathon because I
Mm,
learned a ton about myself that day, and I learned a ton about immunity, most importantly, that day, and took away
mm,
just so many lessons from that one. What I felt at the time was a failed attempt, but there's no bad days if you're able to put one foot in front of the other. And that's the realization that
mm,
I've had to come through. I run near a hospital and I've seen so many people chairs that with oxygen and they'll look up and
mm.
see me coming and give me a thumbs up. And I think right there,
Oh,
I'm doing the rest of this run for you because you can't.
mm,
I have a friend of mine has a daughter and a bifida. She has braces and in a wheelchair a lot, and she's not able to do this. I had the privilege of Insleys, like I said with Danny. And it's just keeping that perspective that no matter what your pace, if you're a 15-minute per mile person or a 5-minute per mile person, able to put one foot in front of, and that's such a blessing because not do it. And I
mm.
just try to keep that perspective that whether it's a good day or a bad day, it's still a great day because I'm able to get out and go.
Thanks, Scott. Now I'm crying over here. Oh, wow. That is such a great perspective. Mm,
And that's key because you're gonna get in leads, you're gonna get tired, and you have to maintain that. And it gets bad. I think to myself, if I'm getting ready for a marathon and I'm gonna bang out a 20, I get to mile 17 and I say, I want to stop. First of all, it's stop. No shame. And
mm,
again, one foot in front of the other, huge blessing. But for me, my goals for what I want to do, Scott, and this is subjective, I don't
mm,
want to stop.
mm,
I don't wanna walk. I wanna go.
mm,
So I think to myself, there's guys overseas right now and they're being shot at and they don't get to call a timeout. They don't get to say, hold on a second, I
mm,
need a break. They don't get to say, I need a nap. They don't get a break. So I don't get a break. I keep going.
mm.
And it's just important to keep perspective no matter what you're doing.
I think I'm going to add you to my running playlist. So then that way, when I want to quit, I just hear you. I just hear your voice just going.
Well, what's funny is
Wow, dang, Scott. Okay.
when I was in mile 23, like I told you, and I see the medical team approaching me and I'm on my hands and knees. It was David Goggins I heard in my head telling me, get up and go. And I got up and went. So
Well, you were my David Goggins, guys. All I got to say. Just go.
pretty hard.
One foot from. Oh, my goodness. So I'm very interested to know, do you have a race that you're like, not my favorite? Or you did touch about Louisiana and you went back and you redid Louisiana or
Yeah.
did it again. And obviously you overcame that really well. But is there a race that you're like, not really my favorite? And I
Dallas
either
Marathon.
don't want to
Dallas Marathon, unequivocally. Dallas
really,
Marathon.
oh,
Don't even get to
okay.
finish Dallas Marathon. So I don't know what it is about big race stuff that I seem to not be able to stay healthy, but the race was on Monday and I test positive for the flu, I think Thursday.
Oh.
And I was running a 50K. And fortunately, Sankey doesn't offer a 50K at the Louisiana Marathon, although I'm still trying to bark up that if there's any interest. But I begged them. I was like, please do a 50K. I don't want to go. And they were like, and probably not right now. I drove to Dallas and sick. I had other physical ailments going on. My water heater
Mm.
broke, so I was checking that out in the attic, and then I fell through my ceiling, landed on my hip. Swimming didn't go well from probably October to December. The race is, I think, the same week as Gulf Coast. So I'm at a point I couldn't go any further than miles, and my goal was like fives, and I didn't make think past 18 in training. And on top of that, I've got the full word of
Oh
advice.
my gosh.
Should anyone want to travel to Dallas and run their marathon, there's a lot of people that run the Dallas Marathon, and I horribly underestimated the goal. And I opened the door and I'm like, I gotta go. We couldn't find a parking spot. So my whole routine's blown.
Oh.
What little routine I do have, but so I get up to the start line. The whole goal went from I want to finish this race in 4 hours to don't die. So start line goes, and I'm gonna finish. It is what it is. And so I told my dad, you got plenty of time to find a parking spot. Don't worry. This is gonna take a while. And I'm calling him along the way, probably about mile 18. And he says, I'm still a parking spot. And I'm like, oh, really? Yeah. Okay. It's about mile 22. Hey, how's it going? I'm still driving. And I'm like, oh, okay. I got past marathon distance, like 27, close to 5K distance. Said, "You found a spot yet? No, no, no. Has to park in Oklahoma." And I'm like, ooh. So just all around, not the most pleasant experience. So I would definitely say
Mm.
my least favorite every race that I've ever gone to.
Mm. Do you foresee yourself going back to do that one?
Absolutely not. No, no, I've not lost anything in
Got
Texas.
it. You said, I've checked that mark. We're
Nope,
moving
done.
on.
Yep, Everest out. Bye.
Done. Ah, that's amazing. Okay. Let's switch to recovery.
Okay.
Let's talk about that. Do you have a recovery? Like favorite item, routine, anything like that that you like to do?
Don't have a tool set or anything like that. I'll use a heating pad as needed, but I really try to
Mhm.
stretch, and I
Mm.
don't stretch enough. But I try to get at least 15-ish minutes, 20 minutes, and I really do better with that as I'm inching closer to 40. And I haven't quite mentally figured that out, but my body reminds me quite frequently.
Mm.
So stretching is definitely a huge part of my recovery and nutrition, obviously. If it's a big run, protein afterwards, probably burger, but I count that as part of my recovery routine.
Okay.
Is definitely the nutrition part.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Cross training. When you aren't running, do you do anything to help cross train with that?
Training, I don't
Okay.
do enough leg work. I'm paranoid about pulling stuff in my legs, and I I
Mm.
I really need to. That's another area I need to improve on is leg day. But like I said, I come from a background of playing football in high school, so lifting weights has always been part of it. Is I've slimmed down
Mm.
and running marathons and ultra marathons. I can't quite throw up as much weight as I used to, but I still try to keep
Sure.
myself in shape, try to keep the active. And I'm a girl dad, so if anything happens, I need to be able to throw guys across rooms and
Mm.
handle business if necessary. So
I love that. That's a great answer. Let's say somebody comes to you and they're like, Scott, I want to get started running. What is a piece of advice you'd give them?
get started, go. We tend to hold ourselves back. And
Mm.
like I said, crazy people run marathons, right? Just go one step at a time. I started out running 2 miles
Mm.
and then three and then four. And then it turned into, well, how far can I go? And then it was, how fast can I go?
Mm.
And then how far and fast can I go? So it doesn't even have to progress like that. My advice is just get started, just go. And the great thing about running is you don't need a membership. You don't even have to leave your
Mm.
house. There's no sidewalk where I'm at. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
sometimes having to dodge traffic, but I'm not a treadmill guy. As I speak with one behind is not for
I
me.
know.
I have to get out and see the world. I have to see different
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And that's why I run around Covington all the time because
Mm-hmm.
no membership required. I don't pay a monthly fee.
Mm-hmm.
That's just go. And if you can't run a mile, run a half mile. If you can't run a half
Mm,
mile, walk. It's so you can take big steps. But my advice is take the
mm.
first step.
Oh, I love that. Baby steps until you can take big steps. Oh, man. Coach Scott, you just, that's it. You're going in my ear. That's all I got to say.
It's
Yeah.
it's fun.
All
It's
these
funny.
things.
Shameless plug. I'm a certified life coach. We'll get fired up, and I try to fire those
Stop.
around me up.
Well, you can check that box, buddy. You do that very well.
Thank you.
I love that. So, you've really talked a lot about having to dig deep. So, is there a mantra? Is there a saying that you tell yourself when you're like, I really do want to give up right now?
Read so many leadership books. John Maxwell is a big inspiration for me. David Goggins, I'm
Mm.
a Goggins disciple. We are cut from the same cloth. He is definitely cut from a different end of that cloth, but same cloth. But there's a few things that my parents preached to me when I was a kid, Army vet, and it was no
Mhm.
excuses, sir. That was the answer all the
Mm.
time. And I've refined that. No excuses, only solutions. No excuses that are valid.
Ooh.
They're not real. Excuse anybody can play hindsight. I can go find a stranger on the street and they can be what happened. I want to know how we're going to stop it from
Mm.
happening again and how are we going to fix it. No excuses, only
Mm.
solutions. That's from my dad. My mom can't, never could. Not allowed to use the word can't in my house. My mom told me that word doesn't live here.
Mm.
The correct way to phrase it is
Mm.
you just haven't found a way. You've got to find a way. It's
Ooh.
solving a
Mhm.
puzzle and you just pieced it together yet. You got to keep working. So can't, never could. Probably the one day though that really resonates in my mind that I take with me all the time. Takes what it takes.
Ooh,
There's
okay.
no shortcuts. There's no compromise. There's no negotiation. It takes what it takes. And whatever you have to do is what you have to do. And then finally, one more, one more step, one and that applies to life, just one more.
Mm.
Sometimes we find ourselves in the pits of depression. One more day,
Mm.
just one more day, catch that sunlight. The light of the moon and the light of the sun is not the same light. And anytime I get down or anytime I get tired, one more step, one more mailbox, make it to one more tree. But again, that's a life lesson,
Mm.
just one more. And if you can get to that one more, just one more after that, one more after that.
Mm.
It's hard sometimes to see to the tunnel, but if you can just look down at your feet and take one more step and one more step, the light's going to be visible. And then to do that one more, then you can get to light. But one more, always one more.
Ah, oh, so good. Let's talk about goals. What are they looking like these days?
I've got coming the end of February running my first attempt 100 miler in Mississippi. So that's my personal upcoming
Mm.
goal. And I'm really sad because I can't seem to run slow enough. It's a pacing issue. As I said, I like to go fast. I got that Ricky Bobby mentality, and that doesn't work out for that type of distance unless you're a super elite runner, and I am not. So I'm trying to, that's my big goal for myself. And now that I've progressed and like open to the people that are just showing up to cheer everybody on, I just overall want to be a more supportive member of the running community.
Mm.
And Ainsley's back in October. That's part of that. I'm running with them again, and I'm really looking forward to that. But I would say my goal is to just be not necessarily a better runner because it was in the beginning.
Sure.
I want to be a better teammate.
Mm. Mm. Well, check that off. You've already.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
I want to be the girl in the tutu.
I'm pretty sure we could arrange that. Pretty sure we could probably get you a fresh junkie tutu somewhere, like a blue green one or something like that.
I might should have kept that to myself.
I feel like it should happen, is what I'm hearing.
Well, I'm a girl dad, so I live in a glitter pink unicorn world. So whatever.
Okay. What has been your favorite length to run? Whether it's a training run, whether it's race day. When you look at that, you're like, ooh, I cannot wait to go this distance.
Well, I tend to favor anything over 10 miles. I tell myself 8 miles is the warm up. The run doesn't start the most part. And reason being, I diagnosed with ADHD as a kid. I'm an unmedicated adult. I've tried to use it as a superpower and multitask and be able to balance a
Mm,
million things at one time. It's sometimes a hindrance, sometimes a superpower, but I find that after about mile 11, the noise in my head starts to get quiet. And at times I feel
mm,
like that meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where the guy's got the spider web, everything, the conspiracy web behind a neurotic. It feels like that in my head at times. And it's a pinball
mm,
machine with 15 balls and 16 sets of paddles. And it's just thoughts going ding, 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 ding. Ding. But after about 11, 12 miles, it's one at a time. And then
mm,
after 15, 16 miles, it's just quiet. And then I can focus on what can I do to be a better person? And then I
mm,
start to break that down. What can I do to be a better dad? What can I do to
mm,
be a better partner? What can I do to be a better? And after all that chaos is gone and I'm in mile 22 and I'm lost in thought, can really achieve a lot of internal growth and I've learned along the way. So that's secondary to the personal growth that
mm,
I feel like I can achieve on a long run. So yeah, I really like to go the distance, but again, I'm gonna go back to it. Any day on pavement is a good day. Any distance is a good distance as long as you're
mm,
upright and moving forward.
mm. Oh, that's so good. Absolutely. When you aren't running, what fuels you? What are you passionate about? I know your family. Absolutely, you love your family. What is something else that keeps you going?
Trying to be a person of
Mm,
influence, trying to bring people out of bad mental because our culture is dissolved a lot. We're so ingrained in ourselves and our phones, and people often suffer in silence. So I just
mm,
try to be a beacon where I can, and I try, and I'm not perfect. I'm human. I screw up every day. And I still, even through my mistakes, tell often people feel they have to be perfect, and it's okay. None of us are. I freak out on my kids at times, and then I say, "Hey, look, I'm sorry." Okay.
mm,
But I really thrive on just being able to coach people and bring them from point A to point B. That's a definite passion in my life to just try to be a person of positive in those lives.
mm. So good, Scott. Oh my goodness. My friend, do you have any final words of wisdom?
Any final words of wisdom? Just be active, move around. We live in this godforsaken self society where everybody's got their nose in a
Mm,
phone and we're losing track of all the beauty that's around us. And you really get
mm,
to see it when you get out on the road and get to running. I would encourage
mm,
everybody sign up for a race. Just see what it's about. You don't have to win. I've
mm,
never won a race. The best second place overall once. Toot toot, but okay, it was a great day and I was around awesome people. And like I said, being around people that are better than you will naturally force you to rise. So I would just encourage
mm,
everybody, find a run club, find a race, find a buddy, and just put one foot in front, get after it.
mm. Scott, thank you so much for your story, for all of your wisdom, the mantras, for all that you do for the running community. You definitely make it better, my friend.
Well, thank you much. I appreciate that. And as do you.
Thanks. How pumped are you guys to go out on a run now? Like, Scott is absolutely amazing. Thank you, my friend, for sharing your story, sharing your heart and your passion and your excitement for running. Guys, he is just like that in person. So definitely get to know him, follow him on social media, and you're going to be blessed. You're going to be blessed to know such an incredible human being. And as he said, no excuses, no more excuses, right? And it takes what it takes. Oh, so good. And I think what really got to me was run for those who can't. I know that I have a very dear friend who is battling cancer, and I know she would love to run more than anything. And so I would also say run for those whose lives have been taken through running. And so run for them. When your legs want to give up, as Scott says, run for those who can't. Let it be a reminder that we're here now and we get to do this. And let's run for them. Let's run for something greater. Oh, it's just so good. Just incredible, beautiful soul is Scott. And again, I just want to say, I say it all the time, that is that we are surrounded here in Mobile, Alabama with the best running community ever. I'm also an honorary member of the Wednesday Run Club, and I think that they're amazing. So I haven't got to hang out with them in person, but I hang out with them virtually, and they're an absolutely incredible group. I absolutely love what Brittany, Ryan, and now Scott, like what they're pouring into that Run Club, and it's incredible, guys. And if you don't have a group, find one, and if you can't find one, then create one. Don't let being alone stop you, because you're not alone. You'll find somebody. And you can do it. You can hit the pavement together. So I am so thankful for those that I get to run with, whether it's in person or it's virtually. And I'm incredibly thankful to know that I'm part of something bigger. I'm part of a bigger running community than just here in my state. But I am incredibly grateful for what I have here in Alabama. I'm just so good, whether it's in Wagner's or whether it's Run and Try, or it's with Anchored or Run 251. Or an honorary member of the Bluebell Bombers, whatever it is. I am incredibly thankful. And to all of you that run with your heart. Just run with your heart. That's how I think of Scott, is running with your heart. So again, shout out to our Fresh Junkie team. We love being ambassadors, and we're incredibly thankful for them. And so they put us all together, and we get to know each other. And that's how I got to know Scott. So thank you to Fresh Junkie. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you to Wagner's Run Walk. Guys, if you need a pair of shoes, go see them. If you have a pair of shoes you've been eyeing, go check them out. Check them out online at wagnersrunwalk.com. Also, you can use that code RYS10 for a special discount. Or go into the store. If you want to make a little trip to Tuscaloosa, I will go with you, because I love me some Wagner. So if you are like, I don't want to go by myself, I will happily jump in the car with you and go up there. I love those guys. Everyone there is absolutely incredible. They love people. They love putting people in the right shoes, and they're very passionate. So definitely check out our friends. They have some really cool run stuff too, guys. Really cool stuff. So can't wait to see them in March for Tuscaloosa Marathon 5K. Super, super pumped for that. And super grateful to have a running store away from home when I go to Tuscaloosa. So nothing beats a local running store. So I have 2 of them that I just absolutely love. So I consider myself very, very fortunate. And guys, thank you so much to Greg Gilliard from Gilliard Tech Services. Woo, he is the man with a plan. He keeps our website going. He keeps the podcast edited. He does such an outstanding job. I don't know how he does it all. He is extraordinary, and he uses his gift to make us all sound great on the podcast, and I am incredibly thankful for that. Check him out. If you've been wondering about starting up a website, or you kind of want to refresh in the one you have, reach out to Gilliard Tech Services. You will love him. He'll sit down and listen with you. And he believes in community. He believes in small businesses. He loves what he does, guys. So definitely check him out, and he will help your website dreams come true. Because I'm always astounded at what he does with our website. So like, oh yeah, I can do that. Check him out, guys. You will absolutely love him. So thank you so much to Gilliard Tech Services for pouring into Run Your Story, for using your gifts and talents and your time. I really, really appreciate you. And thank you for making us all sound so great, so our stories can be heard. To our Patreon supporters, I absolutely love you guys. You are amazing. I am so grateful for you. And you are the reason why this podcast has kept going for the way that it has. If you want to join our Patreon family, please do. We have different levels that you can contribute to. That just helps keep us going. One, it keeps us encouraged, but the other, it keeps us going. We have special discounts for our Patreon supporters, and we really, really appreciate all that they do. They are our family members, and we absolutely love them. So thank you. Join Patreon supporters if you want. It's pretty fun. I would think so. And support your favorite podcast. And you can also support your favorite podcast by sharing, and commenting. We love the feedback. We love to hear what you say, but also get your stories out there. Somebody may need to hear your story, or somebody needs to hear the story this week of Scott's. So definitely get it out there. It's so encouraging, and we love seeing that it gets shared, because your stories do matter. So share away, guys. Like and comment. Make sure that it gets seen on social media. All right, guys. Until next time, go run your story, because every story needs to be heard.